Welcome to the Health and Healing from the Inside Out podcast with Stephanie A. Wynn, an online health and wellness podcast where I, your host, will provide weekly wellness tips about inflammatory bowel disease, specifically Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. The Health and Healing from the Inside Out podcast is a mixture of special guest interviews from healthcare professionals, IBD survivors, Crohn's survivors, ulcerative colitis survivors, and community thought leaders. Be sure to select the subscribe button and let's start the health and healing process from the inside out. We are back for another episode of the Health and Healing from the Inside Out podcast. I am your host, Stephanie A. Wynn, and we are super excited because we have a special guest in the building today, and that is Nurse Sharlene Edwards. She is amazing, y'all. Listen, let me give y'all a little brief bio. I mean, it's just gonna be a quick one. Nurse Sharlene Edwards, she has an MPH, she has a bachelor's in nursing, she's a registered nurse, also a community health advocate, a public health practitioner, and has over 19 years in the industry, y'all. She earned her master's degree in public health epidemiology with experience working with vulnerable populations to reduce the burden of hepatitis, HIV and AIDS, sexually transmitted infections, and tuberculosis in the community. In 2015, Nurse Sharlene became a registered nurse and began working with older adults. She received firsthand experience into how a lifetime of poor habits and choices can take a toll on the body and lessen the quality of life. And is enthusiastic about health promotion and prevention for those who suffer greatly from health disparities and health inequities. She enjoys volunteering with local community grassroots organizations that work to promote and improve health outcomes within the Black and Brown communities. In her spare time, Sharlene enjoys being a dance mom to her high school freshmen. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Nurse Sharlene.
Oh, thank you. You know, when I hear that, I'm like, man, I'm busy. When do I rest? But thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, your topic. We're having the Let's Talk Inflammatory Bowel Disease Health and Wellness Symposium on March 25th. And Sharlene is going to be one of our expert panelists. And her topic is fuel your body for the life that you want. And, before we start the healing process, it really truly starts with your mindset, right? And in order to start the healing process, you have to believe that you can feel better bit by bit, minute by minute, step by step. You can feel better. You can heal. You just have to truly believe that you can. So with that being said, Sharlene, you've seen my journey with, trying all of these different diets, just trying to do the right thing by my body and my health.
Right.
And, you saw me when I was like olive oil skinny, like I was, I was tanking, like, and you also see me when I was thick with it. And so, it has really been a journey to say the least. And I really want to get into fueling your body for the life that you want. I think that is such an amazing topic because when we talk about diet, the complications from IBD alone, the culprit is stress. Stress is the culprit for me, like dealing with any chronic illness. And that's like it's almost like it's waiting for you to get upset so it can go on attack. Right. And so I want to teach our people, not so much just with your mindset, but also with your diet, what you're eating. Like you have to fill your body with fuel. And what does fuel look like? So jump right in, Sharlene. Tell me again, how did you come up with that topic? What made you come up with fuel your body for the life that you want?
So, I would say that for most of my adult life and probably some of my adolescent life, I've always been in and out of some type of exercise program, on or off some diet. I think I've always been conscious of just not only my body, but just I never let myself go too far down the road before I'm like, okay, I need to be on somebody's program or something. And, then I had an epiphany probably a couple of years ago when I was, getting older, I was approaching 40 at the time, and my A1C, which is a marker for blood glucose, which is what they look at to determine, how close you are to being a diabetic. If you are a diabetic, they monitor that A1C. And in my A1C started creeping up. Now I have a history of diabetes in my family on my maternal grandmother's side, and I think possibly also paternal. So, those are things that I always had to be, kind of aware of. And so, I decided that, I wanted to do something different. That's when I became a plant-based eater, primarily full time. And over the last couple years throughout that journey, I just started thinking, at some point you really have to form a different relationship with food. And that's probably 80% of, some of our issues and a lot of our problems, whether it be weight loss, whether it be precipitating factors for other chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. A lot of it is based on the food. And so I like that you said about being mindful, because that's one of the things that's part of fueling your body for the life that you want, is being mindful of what you expect out of food, and also being mindful of what you put in your body and that you consider fuel for your body. Listening to your body more. I had to do more listening to my body. And so, yeah, just really thinking about how we fuel our bodies for the life that we want, for the quality of life that we want, for the energy and the things that we want to do. A lot of us want to live a long life, but at some point you have to be willing to do the things that afford you a longer life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's really, really, that's like, you have to, like I always say, you have to be in position to receive what you're asking for. So like you said, if you're asking for long life, what are you doing are you in a position to receive that? Like, are you doing all of the things that you need to do to be great and to give your body, like you said, you got to listen to your body, give your body all of the things that it needs, like the nutrients. And that goes back to the fuel that it needs to thrive. Not just, you're just, suffering in silence, or I'm just grinding. No, it's not. You got to really understand like what's going on. I know for me, when I was diagnosed with IBD, it was such a shock because I didn't know what that was. I'm like, well, what is that? They didn't even say IBD. They just said this is Crohn's. And I'm like, Crohn's? Well, what is that? Like, what is that? And so I went on this journey of trying to figure out what this is. And so what I do know, Sharlene, and we talked about this before we started the live recording, but there aren't any IBD patient navigators here locally where I am, where from my standpoint. What I also know is there aren't any that's readily available to our community educational resources about inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, and ulcerative colitis like it is for breast cancer awareness, colon cancer, and talk about heart disease, diabetes. Like they have patient navigators. So when you're diagnosed with cancer, you have a whole navigation team that, okay, we're going to help you sign up for this oncologist. We're going to help you sign up for over here. You got to go over here to the surgeon. So that's going to do the breast removal. All of these things, they don't have that for people who are diagnosed with ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. And let me tell you, this disease is a mother like no other. It absorb every nutrient out of your body. It is debilitating, to say the least. I mean, I couldn't walk. I stopped driving. I stopped eating. So I wasn't even I was afraid to eat. And so I went on this journey of, help, I was grabbing straws. I tried keto diet. I tried paleo, plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, supplements. The supplements almost killed me, because they were poison in my body. I was already highly inflamed. And what a lot of these herbalists don't tell you is that if your body is highly inflamed, you need to stay away from supplements.
Yeah.
Because your body is trying to do what it naturally does. Now you're adding chlorophyll. If you have IBD, those that are listening to this episode, and you're constantly going to the bathroom, we go to the bathroom all the time anyway, right? So if you take chlorophyll, that's going to send you to the bathroom even more. So I remember taking these supplements. They gave me chlorella with spearmint. And I don't know if anybody knows, but spearmint, any mint, is going to make you move.
Peppermint. I love my peppermint tea.
Yes. And so when I tell you, Sharlene, this has been a journey. So I decided, you know what? I need to build my healthcare team. And what does that look like? You know, what questions do I need to ask? Over these last 4 years, I've been not just being a patient, but I've been diligent in researching because I'm an avid reader, right? So I read. My goal, I read 4 books a month. That's my goal because I'm learning, right? So my goal, like you said, the A1C marker, I look at my ESR marker, the erythrocyte sedimentation rate, right? If it's over 15, that's high for me, right? So my inflammation markers is 99 and they haven't moved. So again, I had to learn this. What are you seeing on this lab result that you're telling me my inflammation markers are high? I had to research my lab results. Okay, what does this mean? And so think about all the people, Sharlene, that don't know how to read their labs. They're just going based off what the doctor said. And again, the doctor, he's human too. And again, they're practicing medicine. So we have to do our part and advocate for our health. And so that's what we want to do at the Stephanie A. Wynn Foundation. Our goal is truly to help to teach our community. You have to advocate for your health.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to understand the language. And I think that's it's not that we can't do it or go to the resource, Sharlene. I think it's more of understanding the language and what to ask.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on what we should be asking when we go to our doctors?
One of the things I always encourage people to do is just go get your basic lab panel done. So there's different lab panels. Some of them look at your blood count, your white blood cells, your red blood cells, your platelets. Then you have another panel called like a metabolic panel. And they're looking at the things that keep your body going, the processes of your body. So that could be your thyroid, your liver functions. So they're looking at the things that metabolize things in your body. I would just start there and understanding what's normal and what's not normal, what's too high, maybe what's too low. I always encourage people to start there, and in tandem with that, listening to your body. Don't always assume that something is normal or natural just because you're getting older, right? So this is something that I had to take my own advice on, for the longest, I wouldn't say for the longest time, there were symptoms there and I did not know it. And some years ago, I went to my doctor and I was telling him about like a rash that I had. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, that's dermatitis herpetiformis from a gluten sensitivity that you have. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, okay, well, you have a gluten sensitivity, lay off the gluten. So I stopped drinking beer, right? That was the easiest thing for me to do. But not really honing in on all the things that include gluten and what that actually meant. And so I had to start listening to my body because I started noticing, I would get bloated, severely bloated to where I look like I had like a 9-month baby. I'm like almost due, followed by bouts of diarrhea. That's not normal. Like you shouldn't be having bouts of diarrhea. Something's wrong. Something's trying to get out. Rashes, to the point where over time it started making me feel like short of breath. So I'm kind of in the middle now where I'm advocating for my own health. And so when I go to I just went to have my labs done just earlier this week. And I have a doctor's appointment scheduled and I'm going to have him, test me for celiac just because it's gotten, so for me, I feel like advocating for your health is knowing, like you said, the lingo. Start with getting your basic labs done and, understanding that, sometimes, the doctors and practitioners, they don't have a lot of office time to help you. Get a copy of that, find someone that, shout out to Melissa Rowland because she helps people with this. She's a nurse, been a nurse for a really long time. And she helps people understand their labs, what these things mean, um, what's dire, what you need to work on. And then, you can come up with the plan, better come up with the plan. Sometimes we live in this society where it's like, okay, well, cut this out and eat this and you'll be fine. Or, and sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes it's not all just one specific diet. Now, one thing I do know is that whole foods, meaning less processed foods, and more fruits and vegetables are always going to be good, in general in your diet, less sugars, and then you have to fine tune it. So now I have to be very careful about the glutinous foods that I eat, and to the point where, and this is kind of new to me being this extreme with it. And so you're right, like I've been on the internet, I'm reading ingredients like a lot more closely. Just even things that I know, like I had to expand my mind. And it's not just simple as drinking beer and eating bread, or, you got to think about sauces and, even different salad dressings and things and how they cook things, is making me a lot more mindful of how things are being cooked. But I will say on the positive side is making me eat more at home just
Yes.
because, I can control. But yeah, that's all part of taking control of your own health and advocating
Yes.
for yourself. No one wants to feel bad. No one wants to feel crummy. Everybody wants to have the energy to do the things that they enjoy doing. Sometimes our body just conks out on us on certain things. Like I think my body just said, enough with the gluten. I'm done with this. And there's probably things that, I ignored for a long time. So I'm going to take that as well. But now that I know, what am I going to do with it? Now that I know that this is an issue, like I remember, I had to stop eating shellfish some years ago because same thing, my body conked out and just didn't, like it used to give me really bad stomach aches. And someone told me, oh, well, why don't you just take some Benadryl before you eat it? And then that way, I'm like, if I have to take Benadryl before I eat the shellfish, I don't need to be eating the shellfish. Like, how about we just cut out the shellfish? Because, we need to stop making excuses for, just not being well.
This episode is brought to you by the Let's Talk Inflammatory Bowel Disease Health and Wellness Symposium, a health and wellness symposium hosted by the Stephanie A. Wynn Foundation, whose focus is on raising awareness of inflammatory bowel disease, also known as IBD, among African Americans who are disproportionately affected by this chronic illness. The goal of the symposium is to partner with healthcare community partners to support underserved African Americans living with inflammatory bowel disease in their pursuit to live a more quality life. This symposium, it is sponsored by our exclusive sponsor, which is Moffitt Cancer Center, who have come aboard to sponsor and believe in this symposium. We're going to have gastroenterologists there, mental health and wellness clinicians to speak about the importance of mental health when you're diagnosed with a chronic illness such as IBD. And in order for you to get on your journey of health and healing, we'll also have dietitians and nutritionists there to talk about your diet. Now, specifically for Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, it is definitely important. We'll have our exclusive community healthcare organizations, our financial exclusive well-being organization there, and we will also have a healthcare carrier there on site to sign you up for health insurance. Now, listen, this is not the normal symposium where you go and you hear a lot of people talk. We're actually getting things done on top of educating our community. One thing I do know is this: being diagnosed with inflammatory bowel disease, and being in the African American community, our treatment of healthcare is totally different compared to other cultures. And so we are wanting you to join us. Come join the conversation about the IBD healthcare disparities. This is going to take place again Saturday, March the 25th at 9 a.m. at Clearwater, Florida. And it's going to be at the Carroll Hotel. And the information is going to be in the show notes. Now, listen, if you're unable to attend in person and you would like to sponsor or you would like to donate to the cause, I'm going to drop the link in the show notes as well. Without further ado, we're going to get back to the show. And thank you for your time. Peace. You said something that, you're really paying more attention to advocating for yourself. And so we have to do that because as moms, we're so busy advocating for everybody. And so we're taking care of everybody, making sure everything functions
Right.
properly.
Right.
And so when it comes to us, by the time we finally start taking care of ourselves, then we get the diagnosis,
Right.
or we have to go in like, okay, I gotta do this for me now. And so we here at the Health and Healing from the Inside Out podcast, we want to bring you all nothing but professionals, experts who are in the healthcare industry, who are out here doing the work. And so, Sharlene, this is the part of the show where all of our guests, we ask you to provide, how can people follow you? And I want to talk about real quickly, your business, My Better Living Health and Wellness Consulting. How can the audience tell us a little bit about what that is and what you're doing with that?
So, My Better Living Health and Wellness Consulting was really born out of my passion to help people get on track with health and wellness, help organizations and businesses whose mission it is to push forward health agendas to help them. So right now, I did podcasting for a while with My Better Living, really just to share information about healthy living and the struggles that people go through. Now, some projects that we're working on, we've done a virtual series for women, working with a local nonprofit to do that with them. We have the Natural Food Festival that's being coordinated coming up. So the consulting company is working to, just on projects to bring forth, great, not only health events, health discussions, health initiatives within the community. So I work with businesses, nonprofits, other coalitions to, help them push forward their agenda. And how they can reach me. Right now, the website is actually about to be updated. Well, it's in the process of being updated. But right now, they can reach me at www.mybetterlivingllc.com. And so there you can find all the links to the socials, My Better Living on Instagram, My Better Living on Facebook. If you want to personally follow me, you can follow me at Nurse Shar RN on Instagram.
That is awesome. So you guys heard, you can go to mybetterlivingllc.com and you can follow Nurse Shar on Instagram. And so, listen, we want to thank you for coming in today to drop some nuggets. We're super excited to have you as a panelist. We just thank you so much for, providing your time and your expertise. Again, if you all have not registered for the Let's Talk IBD Health and Wellness Symposium, there's still time. I think I checked the other day and we were like at 45 registrations. We have a total of 70 seats. So please tell a friend and bring a friend. This is going to be amazing. And a lot of people will be impacted and educated. And so again, we'll have actual resources in the building. So Florida Blue, we've partnered with Florida Blue to be a exclusive commercial health carrier vendor there. We've also partnered with Evra Health, who's going to be our community organization vendor there. So, and then also New York Life, April Dorn, we'll have a New York Life representative there to talk about getting our life, like our well-being, our well-being in place. So yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super, super excited. And so this is going to be an amazing thing. I mean, I know some people may think, oh, it's just a symposium. No, it's going to be an experience.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Nurse Sharlene, for coming in today on the Health and Healing from the Inside Out podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
I am your host, Stephanie A. Wynn. Until next time, peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Health and Healing from the Inside Out podcast, an online health and wellness podcast where I, your host, Stephanie A. Wynn, will provide weekly wellness tips about inflammatory bowel disease, specifically Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. Be sure to select the subscribe button and let's start the health and healing process from the inside out.